This is a video you all have been waiting for a while, and I'd be lying if I said I was excited to make it. Not because I don't enjoy the knives, it's just that there are a pretty decent number of knives here. It's going to require a decent amount of memory and a decent amount of time. With that being said, we're going to roll straight through. I'm not going to edit this video too much, if any at all, just unless something crazy happens. If I make a mistake, it's probably going to stay in. I'm sure you guys will correct me down below. Grab yourself something cold to drink and kick back, because this is probably going to be a 20-30 minute long video. With that said, we're going to start with the latest addition to my rotation. This is the 44 Buffalo Jack in Autumn Gold Jig Bone. This knife here has great fit and finish, great walk and talk. Believe it or not, this is fresh out of the tube. This knife has no gaps between the springs and the liners, no gaps between the liners and the covers, and it also just has very, very smooth transitions and great centering. This knife here is an example of what GEC has moved towards, from my understanding after doing some reading. GEC was kind of going through a transition last year that I don't think most of us knew about. A lot of the older employees or more seasoned employees were retiring or moving on to different opportunities, so they were training new people. And I know there were some QC hiccups that I mentioned on my videos and that other people mentioned. This knife shows that they're back. They're capable of producing just top quality knives again. So this right here is the 44 Buffalo Jack. In this box are my small-ish knives. This box holds my medium-ish knives, and there's another box up here that holds the larger traditional knives. So we're gonna just shoot through all three of these. I'm gonna slide the box to the side so I can hopefully keep focus, and we'll go through the knives one by one. The first knife that I'm gonna pull out is in 09 Esquire in Bacote, and I'm sure I'm messing that name up, in Bacote wood from Mexico. There are two blades in this knife, and they ride very snugly in here, but they do not rub. Excellent fit and finish. You can see here, this is the main blade. It's a spear blade, almost pin blade type deal. Very small knife. Then on this side, there is a sheep's foot blade. You can see there's no half stop on this blade. You can see the 09 there. And over here, there's no half stop again. You can see the tang stamp, and you can see the tang stamp there. So it's a very small knife. And actually, I think you can see there, and maybe, yeah, right here. This is a carry knife. Even though my knives don't have a lot of patina, I don't cut a lot of fruit and things like that. I actually dropped this knife when I was carrying it one day. So knives are carry knives. The next knife up is in 06 Pemberton. This blade does have a half stop. It is also numbered. This is in, I believe, don't quote me on this, antique green jig bone. Again, don't quote me on that. It's definitely jig bone. This is another smaller knife, clip point blade, one of 35, Pattern Production Premier. You can see the tang stamps here. Great little knife, great walk and talk. Love this little knife. The next few knives are going to be GEC 25s, which are watch pocket Barlows. This knife here is in Desert Ironwood. Half stop, spear blade, long pull. Nice snap to half. You can see the tang stamp there. You can see the tang stamp there. Closes solidly. Oops. And you can see it's centered up very nicely. The next one up is also, like I said, a 25. This one is in canvas burlap, micarta. Again, you can see very nice centering, long pull, spear blade, a little bit of a lighter pull. You can see the half stop, tang stamp on that side, tang stamp on that side, satin bolsters, great little knife. Up next is a 14 two-blade knife in smooth white bone, spear point blade, half stop. You can see the Tang stamp there. You can see the Tang stamp there. And let's do a Mike Latham push open. You can hear that snap open. Good little walk and talk on a little knife. You can see that it has a pin blade, secondary pin blade with a hidden kick. Also has a half stop. You can see the Tang stamp there. You can see on this side there is no Tang stamp. Good snap shut. Great centering. Good all around knife. Here, this is a 33 conductor. This one is in, I don't recall the exact shade of red. I'll say blood red, jig bone. This is actually a factory second knife. If you look around it, I mean, it's pretty clean. I don't really see any flaws in the knife, but it does qualify as a second. You can see here the clip point main blade. There is no half stop like on a traditional split back Whittler. I don't know if I mentioned this was a split back, one of my favorite patterns. You can see the Tang stamp there. You can see the Tang stamp there. You can also notice, even though this is a used blade, there's not any rubbing. So just crazy tolerances with these blades. There are half stops on the secondaries. You can see there the Tang stamp. And you can see here on the other blade, which is a traditional configuration, you've got your clip point main, your sheep's foot secondary, and then a pin blade secondary. You can see there the other Tang stamp. Again, closes excellently. Look at that fit and finish. Look how tightly that blade rides in there. I mean, these split back Whittlers are just amazing to me. One of my favorite patterns, no matter the size. Up next is going to be a 68 White Owl. I don't recall the color of this jigging, but it's in jig bone, kind of like almost like an autumn gold brown jig bone. This one also has two blades. It has the bail that's installed permanently on here. No half stop. You can see that this one also was a user before I got it, and it's still a user. Long pull, Northfield unexcelled, clip point blade. You can see the Tang stamp right there. You can see the pepper spots there. Hear that snap shut. There is a secondary pin blade with a hidden kick. You can see the Tang stamp right there. And there's no Tang stamp on this side. And again, these blades fit in here just extremely well. No rub. You can see how they're ground and then cranked. Just great knives, great knives. The next few knives, or the next several knives, are going to be of the 66 calf roper pattern. This one here is in desert ironwood. Very nice knife. Great grain in this wood. It has a satin clip point main. You can see there's no half stop. There is the Tang stamp there. No Tang stamp on the back of the main blade. You can see this sheep's foot blade with the main stamp right here with the model number, year of make, and the blade styles. And it does not have a half stop either. Excellent walk and talk for a knife like this. This one here is the spay blade, spay blade. And you can see there's a little bit of paper on there. Like I said, even though they don't look like I use them, I do use them. You can see the Tang stamp. No Tang stamp on the back. And that one's a little bit lighter, but it still does snap shut. I believe that was a DLT trading at special factory order. This one here is in green canvas, satin bolsters, satin blades, same blade configuration, similar pull, similar walk and talk. Good little user knife. I really enjoy this knife. This was just a regular production. I believe this is the first time they use the oval shield on a knife. So good little knife. This one here is also a calf roper. This one I believe was the Smoky Mountain Knife Works SFO. You can see pinched and lined or ringed bolsters. Again, that brownish colored jig bone and the propeller shield, same exact blade configuration. And I don't know if you picked up on the other ones, there's no blade rub on those either. This one feels a little bit tighter than my other ones, but still just a great little knife. Same blade configuration. Same light walk and talk on that little blade, that little spay blade. This is the last 66. This one is a Bullwinkle, and this one was actually a gift from a friend. This one is in Cocobolo wood, has the cloud shield. It has two full-size blades that ride in two different blade wells. One is a full-size clip point blade. You can see the tang stamp there. No tang stamp on the back. It is 1 of 25. Nice snap shut. The other is a full-size spear blade, and I believe this was, or maybe it wasn't, this was the side. You can see the Bullwinkle right there, but it's pretty light. You can see the tang stamp here, and again, a nice snap close. These knives are pretty sought after, so it was a very nice gift, and I appreciate my friend that gave this to me. So if you're watching, thank you again. Next up, this one here is a 55 pattern GEC, but it's made for Northwood Knives for the late Derek Bone, excuse me. Good little knife. This one's definitely a user. This is a Northwood's Burnside Jack. This is a highly sought after knife. It's in smooth white bone. I picked it up used. You can see there is a crack and a chip there. It doesn't really bother me. It's a user knife. Half stop, which denotes that it's a 55 and not a 56. Nice snap open. Nice spear point blade. It's great in the hand this way. It's great in the hand this way. Just a nice ergonomic knife. Not too big, not too small. I know I was talking to somebody, they said that they would prefer something a little bit bigger. I like larger knives, but I think for a traditional knife, I think this is a decent size. And because of that shape, it's really versatile. You can see there that Northwood's stamp, the long pull, and that kind of thick saber ground spear point blade, which is kind of a point of contention for a lot of people. They don't like this thick round blade on such a small traditional knife. It kind of hinders the cutting performance of the knife. Up next is a 56. This 56 is in Canvas Micarta. It has the houndstooth shield, satin bolsters, satin finished blade. Again, you can see this one is a user. Tang stamp here, tang stamp here, and there is no half stop. I don't know if you caught that. No half stop. Same blade profile. You can see that there is some fairly heavy patina on this blade. I did carry this knife for 30 days straight and used it, sharpened it, everything. And like I said, you can see I mostly cut paper and things of that nature, and I just put them up. I know it's probably gonna drive some of you guys crazy, and or the fact that I have them all in a box together, but it works for me. The next several knives, again, are gonna be on the 15 frame. This is a Beer Scout knife in smooth white bone. Again, I bought this one used. It does have a crack right here, but that crack has been stabilized, or at least it's stable, I guess I should say. Hasn't moved. I've owned this knife for about a year or so. These knives have a flathead screwdriver, bottle opener, or crown lifter as they call them. There's the tang stamp. You can tell this one was picked up as a user and it has been used. This one has the easy open notch, so you can just pinch the end of the blade. You can see that long pull and that BS etch for Beer Scout. You can see the tang stamp there. There's a half stop on both of these blades. and you can see the Tang stamp there. And there's that cut swedge on this sheep's foot blade. The bail comes with the knife. The lanyard was tied on. I don't usually carry lanyards, but it came with it, so I figured I would just keep it on. Excellent little knife, especially during the summer and things like that. This here is a 15 pattern TC Barlow. This is the second ancient that Charlie Campagna, the guy who commissions these knives, came out with. Again, I don't remember the exact color of this bone, muscadine I think it was, but it's saw cut bone, half stop, fairly light pull, maybe about a 4.5, 5. Here, the difference between the original ancient and this ancient is the fact that this is an etch and it's not an actual stamp. So you can see it has a nail nick, unique spear point blade. The finish work on the bolster here, it's made to look old. The finish work on the blade, same thing. You can see the Tang stamp here. You can see the Tang stamp here. These were pretty popular knives. Great walk and talk, good knife, great construction. One thing to note, you can see how those bone covers are proud of the bolsters. That is a feature of knives from years past. Up next is another Northwoods knife made for, like I said, the late Derek Bone of Northwood Knives, Knife Ship Free fame. This knife is in burlap micarta. It has the satin finish covers, satin finish hardware, everything all the way around. It is a long pull clip point blade. And I don't believe I said this is a Lincoln Jack if I didn't say. You can see that clip point blade, a little bit of a unique shape, more of a like a Bowie style clip. You can see it has a half stop. There is just the USA etch on the back. You can see that rustic finish on the top, and again that saber grind on here, which some people like, some people hate. You can see that this one is a little bit off center. You know, if you followed my videos, I've had some issues with Northwood knives and their fit and finish. That's why I don't pick them up anymore. I'll leave that there. Next up is the first ancient that came out. I never picked up the ebony, but I did have the plain parchment and the scratted bone. This here is scratted bone, which just basically means that these grooves have been cut into the bone. A long time ago, people would scrat lines into the bone of their handles, so that way it would give it more traction. These Barlows were user knives. The bolster is longer in order to provide more stability for the blade. So if you were gonna pry or something like that with the knife, which I know a lot of people nowadays cringe, but if you were a working man 100 years ago, you used your knife. You used what you had on you. So this knife, again, great fit and finished. It was commissioned by Charlie Campagna. You can see the little bit of heat treat scale still left on here. They didn't polish all of that off. Blade has a half stop. You can see the Tang stamp here. You can see the Tang stamp here. You can see that kind of rustic finish on the blade. This is a unique style blade that is called a lamb's foot blade. Throwback to a historical blade shape. You can hear that nice walk and talk. Great knife. Another highly sought after knife. This one here is another Charlie Campagna TC Barlow. This one is in, I can't remember the brown again, so you have to forgive me, but it's peach seed jig bone. This was one of the first knives that Charlie just did a run in all the same handle cover, to that way hopefully to get one in everybody's hand, and people just didn't buy them up to resell them or sit them in a box somewhere and collect them. So half stop like the other ones. You can see the Tang stamp here. You can see the Tang stamp here, that cut swedge satin finished blade. You can see that Tom's Choice etch. Nice snap open. Decent walk and talk. Great little knife. And I believe the last 15 that I own is this Soda Scout, which I've owned this knife twice actually. When I first bought it, It actually was listed as natural, not canvas, natural. Yeah, I believe it was natural canvas micarta. So when it came out, people were a little bit dismayed, or maybe it was natural linen. Either way, it was mislabeled. So when it came out, people were kind of let down by the actual micarta that was used. This looks more like paper, but on the tube, that's it. It was supposed to be natural canvas. When it came out, it wasn't canvas. On the tube, it says natural linen, but it looks more like paper micarta. Very nice butterscotch looking stuff. Again, the same blade configuration or tool configuration. Half stop on the flathead screwdriver / bottle opener. Nice walk and talk. Easy open. Sheep's foot blade. You can see again, this one is a user. Same tang stamps as on the other, the Beer Scout, but like I said, this is a Soda Scout. The reason, like I said, I've owned this twice. I bought this knife again because I just really grew to love these paper micarta scales. I really love that butterscotch color. So that covers all of my, what I consider small knives. And now we're going to move more into the medium category. And some of these knives in here are just because I didn't have space in my other box for these slips. So I'm going to cover these, but the size is going to be a little bit out of order. But again, I'm going to slide this off to the side so I can keep focus. Hopefully keep focus. I'm getting a lot of stuff up here now. So first things first, we have this knife here, which is another Northwoods knife. It is the Bear Lake in red linen micarta. It is on the 35 frame, half stop. You can see the tang stamp here, the tang stamp here. This is a slightly modified spear point blade, modified from what GEC usually uses. You can see that saber grind again. Even though this frame has a number, this actually is not a pattern that has been put out by GEC. Usually Northwoods knives are based on a frame that exists in the general GEC lineup. This 35 frame does not. They've done 2 runs of these. They did the first ones like this with the spear, and then they did the second runs with the Bond Cliff, kind of like a sheep's foot, worn cliff with a twist design. Up next is my 76 gunstock jack. Like I mentioned in my other video, this one is actually numbered 02, which is the actual model knife for GEC. So that's pretty cool. Again, this one is in a variant of the brown jig bone. It's in the North Field finish. You can see excellent blade centering, nice open, not too hard, not too soft. You can see the tang stamp there. There's a half stop. The tang stamp there. There's a half stop. Nice open, nice close. The primary blade is behind the secondary blade. You can see the stamp there. You can see the stamp there. And this is one of 25. So this is one of the older knives that were limited. Let me give you a look at that walk and talk. So not too soft, not too hard. 76 gunstock jack. I'm actually, it looks like I'm missing one of my knives from my box. This is the 13 Splitback Whittler in Gabon Ebony. Or actually, I think this is African Blackwood. African Blackwood. Again, just a work of art. How they fit these blades in here. There is a large sheep's foot blade. You can see it has an American etch there. You can see the tang stamp here, the tang stamp here. This one is a little bit different. Apparently, from my understanding, this is also a throwback to a traditional pattern. It has 2 pin blades instead of the other configuration where there's a pin and then either a small clip or a sheep's foot blade. You can see the tang stamp here, and there is no tang stamp on the other side, but you can see how that blade is ground to allow for the main blade on the other side. And this is something you guys can do if you want to avoid rubbing. You can open the main blade and then open the secondary blade. And I'm just going to do that on this one because just felt a little bit more comfortable. This is the other pin blade. You can see the tang stamp there. No tang stamp on the back. Again, that grind to allow, and I'll show you guys. You can see how those blades kind of flare out away from each other, and that's just to allow them to fall on either side of this main blade. Again, I just really love the split back whittler design. It's my favorite overall pattern. I also have one of these in muslin micarta, but it's on the table in the other room. I'm not going to run in there and get that. We're already at 25 minutes and we just started the second box. This here is also a knife commissioned by Charlie Campagna. This is the 35 harness jack. No half stop on there. There are 2 blades. Again, these knives ride in here just excellently. No half stop. You can see the tang stamp here, the tang stamp here. You can see that grind again to allow for that other blade. And the unique thing about this blade is ground very, very thin. So it's a longer full-size blade that's ground very thin. This is the 10th in Charlie's harness jack series. And it's called a harness jack because all of them have an awl. And you can see this one here is very, very sharp and pointy and a unique shape. No half stop, tang stamp, tang stamp. What I didn't say is, from my understanding, Blade Form's knife the year this came out was on the 35 frame. They used worm grooved jig bone, and I think they needed a few more to round out the order. So Charlie ordered up enough of these to fill out that 500 requirement. This here is my 92 Eureka Jack in maroon micarta. I believe this is linen micarta. You can see here it has kind of more of a Wharncliffe style blade, half stop, nice walk and talk. You can see the tang stamp here. No tang stamp on the back, and again you can see that kind of grind to allow for the space of the blade in here. This here is the main blade. It's a spear point blade. You can see the tang stamp here and the tang stamp here. Again, nice walk and talk. I'm going to show you guys a few 77s. This here is a 77 Washington Jack. This is one of my favorite patterns on the 77 frame. Look at those bolsters. Look at that chamfering. Just look at the detail work that went into this knife. I mean, this is amazing. This is autumn gold jig bone, by the way. Clip point blade, half stop. You can see the tang stamp here. The tang stamp here. Nice walk and talk. The secondary blade is behind the primary blade. You can see the secondary blade has a hidden kick. It is a pin blade with a half stop. You can see the tang stamp here. The next one is a Mike Latham SFO. Again, I don't remember the color, the shade of brown, but this is saw cut bone, and this is one of his 77 Barlows with the matte strike pull and the pinchable clip point blade. And you can see that this clip point looks a little different than the other ones that we've seen. This blade does have a half stop. It does have excellent walk and talk. You can see the stamp here and the stamp here. And if you guys have followed my channel for any significant amount of time, you know that the 15, the 77, and the 74 are the patterns that I recommend the most. This is just a great mid-sized knife. Next is one of his 77 Barlows from this year, which this one is in Desert Ironwood. I know he did the raffle a little bit different this time. Turned into a little bit of a mess, honestly. Sorry, got to tell it like it is. This has 2 blades. They only came with 2 blades. Again, that pinchable clip point blade, even though they're 2 blades, so you can't really pinch it. Matte strike pull, that unique shape again. You can see the tang stamp here, the tang stamp here, and the pulls are in opposite directions. And again, that secondary blade is behind the primary blade, that sheep's foot blade, or coping blade as it's sometimes called. And you see they switched over around this time to using CAR for carbon instead of the 1095 or Tidiute Ironworks. So the next one up, and I believe this is the last 77, is from the same run, but this one is in natural linen micarta. Same blade configuration, same quality, nice walk and talk. It's got the same tang stamp, so that's why I'm not running through and showing you all of that. Just a great little knife. The next ones are going to be 78s. These are very similar to the 77, except obviously, you know, there are some differences. This one is from DLT. No, this one is from, I believe this is the Blade HQ SFO. I might be wrong. If so, correct me. Satin finish all the way around. This is black canvas micarta with the houndstooth shield. Half stop. You can see the tang stamp here. You can see the tang stamp here. Nice walk and talk. Nice centering. Spear point main, single blade. These came in single and double. Good little knife. This is Mike Latham's SFO for the 78. This has the long pull spear point blade. This one is a little bit tighter. You can see it has a satin finished blade, even though it's a north field knife. Half stop, nice snap. Tang stamp there. Tang stamp there. You can see the the bomb shield or corset shield. Great little knife. This is natural linen micarta. There weren't too many of these. These went pretty quickly. A lot of people love them. There is this one here, which I forget the name or the pattern of this jigging, but it's like a dark red jig bone, like almost a worm groove pattern. This is a 2-blade 78, and it has the main blade behind and the secondary in front. Both of the pulls on the same sides of the blade. Half stop. You can see the tang stamp there. And that carbon again, the tang stamp there. Nice walk and talk. And if you notice, this pin blade is a decent bit longer than the other pin blades or secondary pin blades that we've been seeing. Has a spear point main. Again, half stop, decent walk and talk. Tang stamps, nice snap shut. This is the 78 in smooth white bone. Again, 2 blades. This smooth white bone is one of my favorites. Same tang stamps and everything. Same walk and talk for the most part. So I'm not going to bore you by going over this knife in great detail. I'll just kind of give you a look around. Same quality, great knife. I did forget that my knives are a little bit out of order. This is a 77 Barlow from a different run. Again, one of Mike Latham from Collector Knives, one of his SFOs. 2-bladed knife, and I believe these did come in single and double-bladed knives. Half stop, spear point blade, long pull. You can see the tang stamp there. You can see the tang stamp there. Nice walk and talk, and that is what won me over with the 77 pattern. I mean, that is just great walk and talk. Same thing here, just great walk and talk. No tang stamp on the back of the secondary, and you can see the tang stamp here on the secondary. Just great snap, great walk and talk. Let me take a second to put these in order. Up next are 2 of my absolute favorites, and I think if you're older, meaning you've been buying GEC knives for a while, one of the consensus knives that is one of the best fit and finish to come out of the GEC factory. This here is the 38 Grendling Whittler. Again, it's a split back Whittler, and if you're still with me and I did not describe that in the beginning, there is a wedge, which I don't know if you can see. There's a wedge that runs down the middle of two springs. On this end, the springs come together to have the main blade ride on the one spring, and on the back, the secondaries ride on two smaller springs. But like I said, it all comes together as one using a wedge. And all this stuff is done by hand on 100-year-old machines. So you've got no half stop on a clip point main blade. And yes, this is a user. I bought this on the secondary market. It came to me with some of this wear. You can see the Tang stamp here. These were only run once, the Grendling Whittlers. There is a half stop on these secondaries. Nice lighter pull. You can see there's no Tang stamp on the back here. There is a Tang stamp here. Nice snap shut. Again, just a great knife. Here's the other one. This one is in black camel bone. Oh, I didn't say what this one was. This one is a shade of red jig bone. Again, I think it might be blood red jig bone. I don't recall. Look at how that main blade goes through the tangs of those secondaries. I mean, this fit and finish is just a showstopper. I mean, it's just one of my favorite patterns overall. This one here is the same exact knife. It's just in the Tidiute finish with black camel bone, and I believe this was an SFO for Knives Ship Free. And again, no half stop on that main blade. The same exact secondary blades. Half stop, nice walk and talk, and that same, I mean, look at how that blade goes all the way down past the tangs of the secondary blades. All this work done by hand, all of this done on machines that are over 100 years old. It just blows me away, which is one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite patterns. This here is the 74, and I'm gonna forget what the Apostle P called it, but this is the Apostle P's SFO for the 74. I believe this is autumn gold jig bone, the pinched corset shield, half stop, modified clip point blade. It's supposed to be pretty close to a Lanny's clip. Tang stamp there. Tang stamp there. This also came in either African Blackwood or Gabon Ebony. I don't remember. Blackwood from Africa. Great knife. Again, this is one of the patterns that I recommend if you're looking for a knife. 15, 77, 78, and the 74. So that is my middle-sized box of knives. Now we're into the grand finale. And I forgot these two knives over here. I'll come back to those. We're in the grand finale. These are my larger knives here. Slide it off to the side so hopefully we don't lose focus. I'm gonna put this to the side as well. I'll cover those in a minute. This is an old K-Bar Boy Scout knife. I bought this used maybe a year or so ago. I'm not sure. It's pretty beat up, but it works. My first knife, my very first knife, was actually a Boy Scout knife that my father gave to me, and I lost that knife. So when I saw this one come up for sale, it reminded me of that knife, and I ended up purchasing it. So this is just an old K-Bar. I wish it was real bone, but this is actually Darlin, which is like a form of plastic. This right here, my dad, he likes these more traditional knives, so I picked this one up here. This is another old K-Bar. You can see the Tang stamp there. No half stop, but nice walk and talk. No Tang stamp on the secondary, just a little pin blade on the same side. I'm going to show you guys two 72 patterns. This one here is in Gabon Ebony with the big fat spear point blade. These knives will run a couple of times, or actually a few times, not necessarily in the same exact configuration. I like the little lockbacks, pretty good knives. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't see. I need to find my 83. I had a little 83 Tascosa lockback. I need to find that knife. I don't know where I put it at. This knife here is the 72, again in green canvas micarta, and it has the clip point blade. This one is a user. It does have a little bit of side-to-side play. I guess whoever had it before pried with it a little bit. Not extremely excited about that. Nice little knife. A few 71 bullnose. This one is in natural canvas. These are from the Farm and Field line. Just worker knives, sawed buster pattern. Just really fill the hand out. Just a good truck knife, good all-around utility knife. This one is in muslin micarta. Same exact knife, just a different handle material. Again, just a great little utility knife. We have a couple of, oh man, I'm gonna forget the pattern on this one. Give me 1 second. Let me look at this one right here. This one, and it doesn't have it on here either. Oh, I know what this pattern. This is the 48. The 48 improved trapper. And this one is actually called the Hawthorne. If it's in the North Woods trim, this is in smooth oiled bone. Nice and pinchable. I picked this up on secondary. A guy had it. He couldn't stand the fact that the steel kind of patinas. Picked it up for a nice price. You can see there just a nice long thin knife. You can see why it's called the improved trapper. Trappers use these style knives. Half stop. Nice snap close. This actually is a very special knife to me. I got this around the time my grandmother passed. This one was an SFO for Lone Star Knives. It has the full-size clip point because actually when these were running the last time, they came out in the California clip. And there's a half stop. You can see the Lone Star USA tang stamp. No tang stamp on the back. Nail nick, satin finish blade, dual bolsters. The hot bar shield, excuse me, or not bar shield, just a oval shield. This one here, this is my 54. I had a few of these. This is a DLT Trading SFO. You can tell by this oak leaf right here. Spear point blade, half stop. This one also is a user, like you've seen kind of as a theme. Tang stamps. This one is one of the first knives that I freehand sharpened myself. It's very sharp. Nice walk and talk, dual bolsters. My only case knife at the moment, this one here is the, and I'm probably gonna mess this one up, the Zulu Spear, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't remember the color of this bone. But again, another lockback knife, very useful. Go back and check. I did a cut test on this and the carbon steel version. This one is the stainless steel version. You can see the tang stamps here. No tang stamp on the back. This one here is, let's see, I forgot already. This one is the 43 Oregon Trapper, I believe is the name of this one. And it's a Pattern Production Premier, natural canvas micarta, half stop, hot dog shield, satin finished everything, clip point blade, nice walk and talk. And this one is a nice larger knife. This would be something that I would like to carry as well. So the 43 is a nice size as well. This is the Mudbug, which is a knife that's made for Smith & Sons knives, if you're familiar with that company. And it's a lockback version of the GEC 21. This is a natural canvas micarta. The bail did not come with the knife. I added that on. Great little utility knife. I use this to cut up a lot of steak and chicken and things when I'm eating. Again, especially in the summertime when you're grilling out and you've got, you know, those nice grilled vegetables and everything. Good knife to have. This knife here is a 98 Whittler, and this is a pretty stout knife. Again, I just love that Whittler pattern and how they just have that fit and finish down. And you can see that backspacer here that I was talking about, how it kind of splits the two springs here into two separate springs for the secondaries, and then it merges into one for the main blade. So there's a massive clip point blade. You can obviously tell I cut a lot of meat with this knife as well. You can see the tang stamp here, the tang stamp here. You can see I have a tang stamp, or the tang stamp on this side. This has the same blade configuration as the 38. You can see the massive pin blade here, the tang stamp there. This was made in 2016. Great walk and talk. Nice little knife. And with that, we're done with all of the boxes and we're down to what's in these slips. So I will pull this knife out because it relates directly back to the last knife I showed you. This is the 98 Camp knife, and I had a few of these, and I'm sorry I sold the other ones. This is just a masterpiece. I don't know if you guys can see how all of these blades and tools are just laid in here. There's no blade rub. Again, a very sizable knife. I think it's a little bit over 4 inches closed. There is a nice large awl on this side. There is a sheep's foot blade. Again, very, very sizable. You can see the tang stamp. I don't believe the awl has a tang stamp. Oh, it does. There's the tang stamp on the awl. No tang stamp on the back. The massive clip point primary blade with that Northfield etch, but it has the satin finish. This is a Pattern Production Premier knife. You can see the stamp there. You can see the stamp there. And finally, the can opener. And you can see the stamp on the one side there. So this is a pretty cool knife. You don't see too many of these knives. This slip here was made by my buddy Wolfman Zach 88 on Instagram. He made this slip without even seeing the knife, and you can see it holds it perfectly. So that is that. This is another Northwoods knife, if you couldn't tell by the slip. This is the Fremont Jack in Mammoth Ivory. This is a highly sought after pattern. This is on the 79 frame, if I'm not mistaken. Pinchable. It has that Bond Cliff design. Half stop. Nice walk and talk. Great little knife. And I just love the creamy colored Mammoth Ivory here. Just love that creamy Mammoth Ivory. And let's see. Last but not least, this is a Michigan Jack, and I'm probably gonna screw this up. This is on the 77 frame for GEC. Has the easy open notch. Again, it's got that creamy Mammoth Ivory. And you can see here that spot's been on there for years now. So again, they're users. I pull these out on special occasions. Half stop, nice pop. That Bond Cliff design again. Easy open notch if I didn't say that. Great walk and talk. Just a great all-around knife. So that covers all of my knives. Like I said, I have a 83 Tascosa lockback in Gabon Ebony that it just hit me. I cannot seem to find. That's a little bit of a problem, so I need to figure out where that's at and get it back in, back into the box where it belongs. So I appreciate you guys watching. I told you it was going to be a long video. I hope that you guys stuck around for the entire thing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember, a lazy man carries a dull knife.